Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
You're welcome to Fusion Mobile learning platform. I'm only calling by name, the commerce tutor. In this class, we'll be treating contract of employment and government regulation of business. So we'll be looking at the meaning of employer, duties and rights of the employer. We'll be looking at the meaning of employee, and also we'll also be looking at duties and rights of the employee and government regulations of business. How can government regulate business? The first thing we have is the meaning of employer. So an employer is a person that employed the service or the work of another person known as the employee. So to perform the particular amount of duties to the employer, to the employer. So whenever a person actually secures the services of another person, so the person who secures such services is known as as the employer. So the service of the person that is being secured, the person which his service is required is known as the employee. Now we have the duties and rights of the employer. So the employer is having a lot of duties to perform to the employee. Number one, let's talk about the duties. Duties of the employer. We have number one is payment of remuneration to the employee. Number two, provision of necessary tools and equipment. So you have to be able to providing the necessary tools and equipment to be used by the employee, and also have the duties of providing making provision for safe place of working. So a conducive place for working for the employee, but also ensure that it's compensate the employee for loss. Compensating the employee for any form of loss, something like that. So it must ensure to give the employee job security. Let's switch some form of job security to the employee. So, and again, the rights of the employer. So the employer is also having some certain amount of rights. So the employer is also having the right to fix remuneration. So it's having the right to fix remuneration. Yeah, it's having the right to fixing the remuneration, and also it's also having the right to relieve the employee of his job. So you're having the right to relieve the employer. So he's also having the right to employ whosoever he wishes to employ. Employ whosoever he wishes to employ in the business. Having that right to employ whosoever. So also the employer also having the right to use the invention and the services of the employee. So this is paying for it. So these are the rights of the employer. These are the rights of the employer. And we mention of the duty that payment of remuneration, also having the right of making provision for necessary tools and equipment, making provision for safe place of working. So you have to make provision for safe place of working. So you are also having the duties of compensating the employee for loss. Compensating the employee for loss. And also provide job security to the employee. So you're able to provide job security to the employee. And then so we'll be looking at the meaning of employee. So the employee is the person employed by another individual called employer in order to provide services to the employer or for the employer. So the employee is someone that usually was being employed. Is someone being employed. And also let's talk about the duties of the employee. Employees also having some duties to perform in the law to the employer. Number one is that he must be able to perform, ensure he's performing the duties effectively and services effectively to to the employer will ensure the cost that one will use to the employer. And that duty also, number 2, he must provide that duties in good faith. He must exercise that duties in good faith. So that the duty must be exercised in good faith. And also, the employee must also ensure that he actually will take order. Is actually take to the instructions and order of the employer. He must take the instructions and order of the employer. That's one of the duties of the employee to the employer. And also, he must act in faith and honesty. That is, he must always ensure that he is acting in good faith and honesty. And he must not always leak the secret of his employer. He must not leak the secret of the employer. And he must not act without the knowledge of his employer. So he must always act about the knowledge of the employer. So what happens is that, okay, this also where I can actually remember one duty of the employer. So the employer also is having this of making necessary facilities. Yeah, you must provide necessary facilities for the employer. Let's continue with our employee. This of the employee. Okay, and the employee also. I'm talking about the employee. Also having the duties of working in lines with the business. With the business. So ensure that as well. They don't work out of the line of the business of the employer. And also you must provide, inform the employer when you need a rise. So always inform the employer when you need a rise, so that the employer must have knowledge of what is going on. And again, let's talk about the rights of the employee. Now, okay, the employee must always is having the right to compensation for loss. So it's having the right for what? Compensation for loss. What is the loss in the was having the right to. Also, it does not having the right to payment to what? To the agreed remuneration. It's having the right to receive the agreed remuneration between it and the employer. So having the right to receive remuneration, the agreed remuneration. So the next thing is that the employee also is having the right to be informed. And again, also having the right to reject or accept employment offer by the employer. You can reject or affirm from what employer offer by the employer. So you are able to look at the meaning of employer, the duties and rights of the employer. You are able to look at the meaning of employee, the duties and rights of the employee. Now let's go to the government regulation of business. So we can move to the government regulation of business. So now we have government regulation of business. So we are going to look at different ways in which government actually regulates business in the country. So government usually sets laws and regulations in order to control the activities of business in the country. So it is the responsibility of all companies and businesses in the country to take recognition of such regulation and also conforms to such a regulation. So we are going to look at different ways in which government will regulate business activities in the country by putting in place some laws and regulations, and also putting in place some formalities which business are to follow. So we are going to look at the methods in which government regulates businesses. We are going to look at business license and registration. That is the business license and registration. Thereby, when we look at the patent rights, the trademarks, the copyright, approval of business location. We look at publication of accounts, use of standard weights and measures. We're going to look at ensure protection of safe goods, production of safe goods, and also regulation of business of disposal of waste. We're going to regulate the disposal of waste, and also regulation of ownership of business. Now the first thing we have is business license and registration. So whenever the business has to form, what happens? businesses are usually mandated by the government to ensure registration of such businesses. So businesses are usually to conform to the registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission. So whether it's partnership, proprietorship, limited liability company, they have the responsibility of being registered. So business have to be registered before they are being formed. So they have to be registered. Those are the methods in which government using in regulating business in the country. And the next one we also have the patent rights. The patent rights. So this is the exclusive right given by the government to the owner of an invention or discoveries, so in order to enjoy his work or her work. So whenever the government give an exclusive right to an owner of an inventions, or discoveries or some work of sciences, so the government is going to give them patent rights in order to enjoy such work within a certain period of time. So this also serve as the ways in which government was using regulating business in the country. Next one, we also have trademark. So government ensures that each business have a distinctive designs, descriptions which they can use in distinguishing their business from other businesses. So a business must generally have a trademark, it must have a business name, a distinctive name, designs, packaging, some aspect of description also, in order to distinguish the use of one producer from another. So the next thing we have is the use of trademark. The next thing we have is the copyright. So government can also give exclusive rights or sole rights to the owner of a literary works, or musics, or art, or musician, or let me say artist. So that is to make the copy of his work. So it means sole ownership will be given to the owner, or sole rights will be given to the owner of such work. So to be the only producers of such a work. So that also serves as one of the ways in which government was regulate businesses. So copyright actually means to give exclusive right to the owner of a literary work or musicians or artists. So in the further process, government was regulating or business in that process. So we also have approval of business locations. Whenever a business is to be located, what happens? The business afterwards have an approval of such a location. So it is of necessity for a business to have approval of this location. Now the next thing we have is publication of accounts. So limited liabilities are usually mandated by the government to publish their account to the member of the public. So what happened, and there are some statements that have to be attached with such publications. So that will serve as an explanation to the member of the public. So they are usually mandated by the government to have to publish their account. These are one of the ways the government also wants to regulate business. We also have use of standard and weights and measures. We have ensure production of safe goods. So business have to ensure that they produce safe goods, that will meet the standard of the public. And also we have regulation of disposal of waste. Government ensure that disposal of waste on the product of a particular producer or business is properly disposed of. These are also one of the way of regulating business in the country. We also have the regulation of ownership of business. Someone also regulates business through regulation of ownership. So these are the ways in which government or the method in which government regulates businesses in the countries. And you have a lot of reasons why government is going to you need to regulate business. Just ask yourself, what reason or why will government be regulating business in the country? Number one is to ensure that there is the producer of business informed to uniformity in the country, and that is uniformity of laws, and able to also to ensure that the consumer is protected from any form of exploitations, and to ensure that the goods produced in the country are quality one, and that in such a way that they are able to meet standard and measures. So a lot of reasons or varieties of reasons why government is going to regulate businesses in the country. So this has been an interesting class with people, and also in this class we are able to look at the meaning of employer, we are able to look at the duties and rights of the employer. We are able to look at the meaning of the employee and duties and rights of the employee. Thereafter, we are able to look at the government regulation of businesses, methods in which government will regulate businesses, and reasons why government regulates businesses in a country. So, if you have any confusions as regards to the topic we've treated now, do not hesitate to watch. We will play the video, and also some questions will be displayed on your screen. Please do well to attempt such questions. Thank you.